Phoenix, the sky, clouds is blue. I was wearing my favorite shirt, sleeveless, white eyelet lace. I was wearing it as a farewell gesture. My carry-on item was a parka. It was to Washington with its gloomy, omnipresent shade that I now exiled myself, an action which I took with great horror. I detested Washington. When the plane landed, it was raining. I didn't see it as an omen, just unavoidable. I'd already said my goodbyes to the sun. The literary gem you have just heard is from a book which has sold 85 million copies worldwide. I picked this book off the library shelf expecting ingenious plot twists and fabulous prose. I tried to read the first chapter, but I just couldn't get through it. Maybe I was missing some deeper meaning. When I searched SparkNotes, I found the answer. There is no deeper meaning. This book was as dull and pointless as I originally thought. However, in his blog, Dan Bergstein, a SparkNotes contributor, helped me to truly take pleasure in this book without even having to read the first chapter. So now, to allow you to enjoy this work without even having to look at the first page, I give you Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, with excerpts from Blogging Twilight by Dan Bergstein. Keep in mind that as ridiculously bad as it is, all of the dialogue comes directly from the book. Hello, Dan Bergstein here. Here's what you should know. Bella is the main character. Edward is a vampire. Bella and Edward fall in love. Edward has crazy hair. It's good to see you, Bella. Dad was looking straight ahead as he said this. He wasn't comfortable with expressing his emotions. I inherited that from him. So I was looking straight ahead as I responded. It's good to see you too, Dad. I bought you a truck as a homecoming gift. You didn't need to do that, Dad. I don't mind. I want you to be happy here. Thanks, Dad. That's really nice. I really appreciate it. No need to add that my being happy in Washington is an impossibility. Dad left me alone to unpack. It was a relief to stare dejectedly out the window at the sheeting rain and let just a few tears escape. I wasn't in the mood to go on a real crying jag. I would save that for bedtime. Breakfast with Dad was a quiet event. Good luck at school. Thank you. And Aunt Bella goes to her first day of school. No vampires are mentioned here, unless her truck is a vampire. That would be cool. I can do this. No one is going to fight me. At school, we quickly meet Eric, whom Bella describes as the chess club type. Where's your next class? I'm Eric. I can show you the way. This is a lot different from Phoenix, huh? It doesn't rain much there, does it? You don't look very tan. I'll walk you to the cafeteria for lunch. It was there, sitting in the lunchroom, that I first saw them. There were 5 of them, sitting in a corner. I stared because their faces, so different, so similar, were all devastatingly, inhumanly beautiful. One, Edward, had untidy bronze-colored hair and ochre eyes. Why is attractiveness always a part of the vampire mythos? It seems unfair. There should be some vampires with knobby knees and bad bangs. Once Bella's done drooling over them, my classroom was small. All the tables were filled, but one. I recognized Edward by his unusual hair sitting next to the single open seat. He was leaning away from me, averting his face like he smelled something bad. Inconspicuously, I sniffed my hair. It smelled of strawberries, my favorite shampoo. It was an innocent enough odor. I let my hair fall over my right shoulder, making a dark curtain between us. I couldn't help myself from peeking occasionally through the screen of my hair at the strange boy next to me. He was glaring down at me, eyes full of revulsion.
Did you stab Edward with a pencil or what? He's a weird guy. If I would have got to sit next to you, I would have talked to you. Will you go out with me? Are you planning on asking me to the girls' choice spring dance in 2 weeks?
No. She shoots him down. Presumably Eric goes home and listens to Taylor Swift to ease his pain. The next day was better. Hello. My name is Edward Cohen. You must be Bella. I was stunned that he was speaking to me. He looked like he'd just been finished shooting a commercial for hair gel. His eyes were a strange ochre, darker than butterscotch, but with the same golden tone. Bella describes his eyes as ochre on at least 5 separate occasions. I'm assuming author Stephanie Meyer ran out of ways to say dreamy gold. Or maybe she has thousands of ways to describe Edward's eyes, but she's saving them for another book entitled Edward's Eyes Thesaurus. We shouldn't be friends. Trust me. I heard you're going to Seattle. I wondered if you wanted a ride. I'm not sure your truck can make it. My truck works just fine. Stupid, shiny Volvo owner. Honestly, Edward, I can't keep up with you. I thought you didn't want to be my friend. I said it would be better if we're not friends. Not that I didn't want to be. Will you go with me to Seattle? You really should stay away from me. Of course, she accepts his offer. Note, letting spooky, schizophrenic boys who you just met drive you to a major city officially leads to your tragic story being made into a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie. Consider this your warning. I'm warning you that I'm not a good friend for you. And I swear, I read this same conversation a few chapters ago. We all know that Edward isn't a good friend for her because he's a vampire. This is boring and repetitive, and I zone out. And begin to wonder if hats or helmets were invented first. I'm going with helmets. I'm warning you that I'm not a good friend for you. You say that a lot. Yes, because you're not listening to me. If you're smart, you'll avoid me. So as long as I'm being not smart, we'll try to be friends? Wait, I changed my answer to hats, but like a really big hat. Do you think that I could be scary? Yes, anyone can be scary if given a hatchet and clown makeup. Are you frightened of me? No! I tried to make my smile look alluring. He smiled back, looking allured. It doesn't matter to me what you are. I couldn't imagine how an angel could be any more glorious. There was nothing about him that could be improved upon. Really? How about an eyeball on the end of his finger, so he could look around corners without being seen? You don't care if I'm a monster. If Edward doesn't want to be a monster, why can't he find a cure? A vampire bite turns a human into a vampire, right? So it just stands to reason that if a human bit a vampire, the vampire could be turned into a normal person. This is why I bite people who I think are vampires. The next chapter begins with Bella meeting up with a 15-year-old guy named Jacob Black from a nearby reservation. Jacob explains his people are descendants of werewolves who have only one enemy, the cold ones. This is just a creepy way of saying vampires. People love using vampire synonyms to sound spooky. You can also use the terms blood drinkers, creatures of the night, mosquito men, and pretty night things that bite. Bella is gullible. A 15-year-old guy tells her the vampires are real, and suddenly she's a believer. Could Edward be a vampire? What was I going to do if it was true? I knew I could do nothing, because when I thought of him, I wanted nothing more than to be with him right now. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. 1, Edward was a vampire. 2, there was a part of him that thirsted for my blood. And 3, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him.
Really? She hardly even knows the dude. She doesn't know his middle name, his favorite TV shows, or his thoughts on the whole helmet hat debate. Overall, Twilight was a huge disappointment. There is nothing scary in this book. I mean, I wasn't expecting a bloodfest, but I've seen episodes of The Price is Right that were more tense than Twilight's. The good news is that with all the character introductions handled in the first book, the next books have the potential to be more interesting. The bad news is that, from what I've heard, this is considered the best book in the series.